here, brother. I'm rocking and rolling. Is this all there is? Is this all there is? It must be more than this. If it ain't so, we might as well rock and roll.
Yes, guys, welcome in everyone. Thank you very much for joining me yet again. I do appreciate it. Guys, looks like we've got some transfer news to talk about. We've got Henderson leaving the football club. He pictured today, well, filmed to be fair, filmed today training with his brand new team. So Hendo is not a Liverpool player any longer. He's officially left the football club. I believe there's going to be a statement from the football club later on this evening with apparently a goodbye message from Jordan Henderson, a goodbye video from Jordan Henderson. So we'll keep an eye out for that, guys. That should be a decent little watch and see what Hendo has to say and all that. Look, we've got Lavia coming to the football club by the look of it. Fabinho, what's going on with Fabinho? Is he leaving? Is he staying? Is he going elsewhere? We don't know what's going on with Fabinho at the moment, but we'll chat about that as well, guys. And we'll talk about pre-season so far and how everything is going. So lots to talk about, guys. Hope you're all doing well. Please go and smash the like button, hit the subscribe button. You know all the good stuff, guys. Share. 5,000 subs is the goal, guys. Let's get there as quick as we can. You know the way. If you'd liked. If you subbed. If you haven't yet, share the video out, guys. Share it with your friends, man. Share it with your friends. Big up to everyone in the channel, though. Big up to everyone in the chat. Hope you're all doing well. Go and smash that like. And we'll get talking about it. First off, let's talk about Jordan Henderson, shall we? Let's talk about Jordan Henderson. So, Hendo has left Liverpool Football Club. He has gone. He's videoed today training with his new side. Look, much respect, much love to Jordan Henderson. I've said it time and time again. I'm shocked that he's left. I've always said it. I thought he'd retire at Liverpool. I just didn't see anyone coming in to buy Jordan Henderson this late into his career now. But, you know, Steven Gerrard took over El Fiac and they've come in and gone, right, you know what? We want Jordan Henderson. 350 grand a week. Jordan Henderson can't say no to 350 grand a week. Come on, guys. And he's left after 12 years at Liverpool Football Club. The rumours is that he will get a testimonial next summer, which will be interesting. So Jordan Henderson is going to get like an invitational testimonial type thing next summer pre-season. So that'll be interesting. He deserves it. I'm glad that he's done a final message. I'm glad he's done a final message to the fan base. Because I said him leaving through the back door. Until I didn't want him leaving through the back door quietly, you know, and just leaving the football club and like you didn't hear from him again. That's not what I wanted. I wanted Hendo to at least have a say and say goodbyes and stuff like that. It's a shame he's not, you know, getting that final say at Anfield like Naby did and Ox did and Milner and Bobby did. It's a shame, but unfortunately it's the way it is. And I'm glad he's getting a final say goodbye. That is meant to be out either tonight or tomorrow morning, apparently, when Liverpool make it official. But Jordan Henderson has left Liverpool Football Club. He is. You've probably all seen it on Twitter. He's videoed at his new team training this afternoon, getting ready for pre-season with his new team. And much love and much respect to Jordan Henderson. And you're a fine captain, my friend. You're a fine captain. Look, as a player, we can all debate it. As a player, the debate about Jordan Henderson as a player will go on forever. You know, people rate him, people hate him, people dismiss him, whatever it'll be. I don't think we can debate the captaincy of Jordan Henderson. He's a great leader and a great captain for this football club. He did the best of his ability. You know, his technical ability isn't there outshining a lot of other players in their team. It's just not. But Jordan Henderson made a career as best he could with the ability he had. And at the end of the day, he was the captain that brought Liverpool the Premier League title. He was the captain that brought the Champions League back to Liverpool as well. You know, he won all the trophies there is to win. at Liverpool Football Club. He had a great career at Liverpool Football Club, a great leader. And I just, he's left now. So the Henderson hate can stop guys from people around the world. It's silly. It is what it is. He wasn't the best player ever. Of course he wasn't. He couldn't tie like Gerrard's laces. We know that. But as a leader, as a captain, and getting the best out of his own ability, you've got to respect that. I've seen a lot of players. I'm telling you right now, and you guys in the chat as well, you have seen a lot of footballers that have far more ability than Jordan Henderson that don't ever live up to their ability. That really don't. They just don't live up to their ability. Jordan Henderson doesn't have that ability, but he got every single grain out and always gave 100% for the football club. So that's all I'm going to say on Jordan Henderson stuff. Congratulations on your move. You're making big money now. Good luck to you, man. You deserve it. Enjoy your time in Saudi. Hope everything goes well for you. Thank you for being captain and a leader to this football club. I do appreciate it. I think we all appreciate it. But things move on. Players move. Players come. Players go. Everything moves on in life, guys. So, a lot of people get really stuck on players leaving. I don't care. I don't really care that emotionally if players leave our football club. Steven Gerrard left our football club. I didn't sit there crying. I weren't there sitting there crying, oh, how can he leave? How can he leave? People leave, man. You get on, you move on. Yeah? You wipe your mouth and you move on. Do you know what I mean? And Hendo's gone. We can build our team again for the next. The next team can be built now. The likes of Hendo out of the team, the likes of Ox out of the team, the likes of Milner out of the team. It's helping Liverpool build the next phase of what Liverpool want to do. And, but many congratulations to Jordan Henderson. We'll go obviously talk about Lavia, but we're going to talk about Fabinho before we talk about Lavia, guys, because the Fabinho thing is very, very, very interesting. We're going to chat about Fabinho before we'll get Fabs on. Let's get Albert on.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
You doing
I'm good. I'm doing very well.
Awesome. Fabinho. So I'm not sure what's going on with Fab. I've seen some people say on Twitter today that they think he should go. He should still be moving to his club. There's other things saying the deal fell down. What do you make on it, Albert? What do you make on the Fabinho?
I think
would you be that unhappy if Fabinho stayed?
Yeah, I think he should go. Because it's not good for the dressing room. It's not good for the discipline of the team. Imagine if 3 or 4 or 5 players did that. Has a contract, an impending contract, is not in training camp, is not with the guys, just goes. If it doesn't succeed, and then he comes back. If you're gonna start the journey, make sure you're gonna end it. I don't think you should go halfway and come back. But I think it's an issue on the club side with money issues. And if those issues are resolved by them, he should be on his way. I think Henderson is done now. I don't know whether you've seen the video of him training with his team. Yeah, that's done. Fabinho too should be done. And let's get the Lavia thing over and done with, because Chelsea have stuck their willies in there. I don't know whether you've seen it, but Chelsea have made a bid, £50 million bid for Lavia.
Yeah, Lavia's turned them down, ain't he? I'll see that. Yeah, Lavia turned them down this afternoon. He says he only wants to join Liverpool now.
I thank God. We thank God.
And that's right. And this is we weren't arguing about this the other day. We were just debating it between you, me, and K-Mac when I was saying they're the players I want, that obviously want to come to the project, join that project that Liverpool are showing. He's turned down Chelsea, and Chelsea are, let's face it, they'll probably go off for more money and wages than we were going to, a sign-on fee and all that. But he wants to join a project and a thing in Liverpool, and that's the players I want at this football club. I want players to come to this football club and play for the badge, fight for the badge, and what it means to wear that badge on your chest. You know what I mean? It's so.
I also think,
I'm glad that's happening.
with all respect to Chelsea, that I can muster that many serious players at this time, if you're a serious player, you will reject Chelsea because they don't look serious. They look all over the place. They are acting like a warehouse sale. They are acting like they're having a yard sale. Nobody knows who's who and what they're going to do next. And if you're a serious player with a serious ambition, definitely Liverpool looks more stable. Besides, I also don't think, and I don't know, just throwing this out there, I don't think many of the players are happy with being tied down to an 8-year contract,
Because it's a long time, man.
That's a lifetime. That's basically the lifetime, the working lifetime of a player. The average shelf life of a footballer is 6 years, average. So I don't think many of them want to do that. They want a time when free agency kicks in so they can negotiate a better contract, get better money, or maybe move to a better team, another team. Yeah. So he doesn't want to do that.
Yeah. What do we think on Lavia? Because I'm quite a realist. I expect Liverpool to be far better next season than they were this season, just with the players we got alone anyway, and the manager we got. I expect things to be better. Do I expect us to win a league next season? No, because we did fall behind a little bit last season. We've got Europa League to play, depending how seriously Klopp takes it. So I'm realistic on this. And I'm realistic on the fact that as well, we need to rebuild our side for the years to come. It ain't just about trying to win it next season. It's about trying to do our best next season, but in the years to come, be very successful. So I'm all right. That's why I'm all right with these transfers. I know a lot of Liverpool fans ain't. They want to win tomorrow, today, and I can understand it. They want to win right now. I get it. I really do. But I think Lavia is going to be a tremendous signing when it's done. The rumour is at the moment it's going to be a £45 million deal, which I think it gets the job done. 42.5 million up front, and then 2.5 million in bonus.
That's the Ballon d'Or clause, right?
yeah. And then that makes that £45 million deal perfectly fine with that. I think that would be a handshake deal. Southampton has spoke about it. They want this deal done now. Liverpool and Southampton both want this deal done. There's no falling out between the two. I know everyone, because Liverpool fans get very edgy about stuff, and they've got a lot of anxiety, and I get it. So when Liverpool make the first approach of 37.5 million for Lavia, which is a fair first bid, right? Because you don't go straight in there with the top whack bid, do you? We all know.
We're not Todd Bowley.
Yeah, you go in there and you do business. You go in there and do business, and everyone's breaking down. Or that's it. Or we ain't getting Lavia now. And then Southampton turn around and go, yeah, we're cool with that bid. We knew that bid was going to be a bit lower, but we want this deal to be done. There's no problem here. And Liverpool gone back hours later and it looks like they bid 42.5 million, which is about right, and 2.5 million in bonuses, a £45 million deal. Personally, Albert, I think it's a good deal for both football clubs, for Liverpool and Southampton. What do you reckon?
It's a fantastic deal. And I'll tell you why it's a fantastic deal. First of all, if you were optimizing everything, value for money, player, longevity, what he brings to the table as a footballer, it's probably the best get right now. Because let's take a few boxes. Most of us Liverpool supporters say, even though I don't believe in it, it's their conviction, so I accept it. They want a player who's proven, takes the box, right? They want a player who can speak English, takes the box. They want a player who has the experience of actually being in a situation fantastic. He's an international player, fantastic. And most importantly, he has youth on his side. So
Hmm.
name it, he ticks the box. And he's surprisingly tall. He's listed as 5'11". He doesn't look it to me, but if that's the truth, then basically all the boxes are ticked. He's a club mate and he's very energetic, good with both feet. Hey, I'm good with it. I'm good
Yeah,
with it.
same.
I'm
And
good with it.
I know a lot of people will say, Klopp doesn't get his first targets and stuff like that, and does the owners actually give Klopp what he needs and all that? And I get this argument, I do. How many managers, though, actually always get what they want? This is the thing, right? Who's Klopp really missed out on? Jude Bellingham and Tchouaméni. They're probably the ones.
Well, he based out on Mario Götze and Julian Brandt and
Yeah,
got Salah.
they're Klopp choices, and the
Right,
club's
and got
choices are
Salah,
Mane and
got
Salah.
Salah and Mane.
Yeah,
So
so exactly, and that's why I don't get too wound up about this sort of stuff. I do think Klopp wants these three players because I see that have you heard Klopp talking about McAllister especially? He loves him already.
yeah,
He loves him
yeah.
already because he does everything Jurgen Klopp absolutely loves, and he does it at a high level with high quality, and that's what Klopp
Look,
wants in the team.
I know people and our rival supporters don't want to admit it, but Alexis McAllister is the snag of the century,
Yeah.
right? That was like a commando operation, you know, like, you know, capturing the prize. It was something of an Indiana Jones moment, man, because 35 million for that guy? A lot of work went into it, a lot of underhand things went into it, and even some of our journalists said it was criminal the way we got that guy, because
Mm,
we simply found a way to get his agents to get him not to renew his contract after the World Cup. Otherwise, he would have been an 80 million pound player. See
mm,
what is happening to Caicedo right now. If
yeah.
he had augmented his contract in any way, shape, or form, that's what would have happened to him, and we wouldn't have gone to pay for him. It will turn out to be the best thing that happened to Liverpool since sliced bread. You see,
Mm,
what will happen. So for me, I think we're good to go. Right now, definitely we need at least another DM. I am reading that we are working on the kid in Brazil, who will be a very very good backup if we can get him at
mm,
Trinidad, because he's a very good player as well. And for the price, I hear his price is 25 million euro. The release clause. That's like, I mean, that's like nothing. All right,
mhm,
because if he comes into the league and he does well, great. If he doesn't do well, sell him to Porto or Benfica or whatever, and you can't do any worse. So I think we're doing okay now. I think we need another center back. If we get Lavia along on the trip to Singapore and he's able to integrate into the team, don't forget he's been training with Southampton already, and I'm sure the Liverpool team, the field team, will be well aware of the fact that he's already been training. They know
mm,
he played a match yesterday, so a certain level of fitness is there already. If he's able to integrate into the team and at least play half a match or something, dude is ready to go against Chelsea. Because
mhm,
against Chelsea, we need somebody who's going to stop the runs of Mudryk, and basically check the runs of Mudryk, Sterling, and Co. We need those. At this point in time, I think with a good DM, we beat Chelsea and we beat them cold at Stamford Bridge. This is not going to be another 0-0 thing. We're not taking another 0-0 to Anfield. So I think we are getting there. Within the 3 weeks that we require to get ready, I'm sure we'll be ready.
Yeah. I agree. Look, Liverpool have got they've got a good player in Lavia. He's going to be a tremendous footballer. There's some reasons. There's some reasons Liverpool have gone for Lavia over people like Casado and stuff like that. And it's what he does passing forward. It's the play. It's him winning the ball back in high areas of the pitch and stuff like that. So I've got to thank you. Got this to show people.
But you know, Jamie,
Got that there.
yeah, the truth of the matter is that um there's a big difference between 50 million pounds and 100 million pounds, and it's 50 million pounds,
Yeah,
right?
I think Liverpool would have got Gainsado if they were to what Klopp wants. So if you look at this, possession one in the middle third of under 20 players around Europe's top 5 leagues. Lavia comes out on top, even above the likes of Jude Bellingham, and Jude Bellingham's someone we wanted as well. So if you look at that, look at Camavinga down there. Now, what does Klopp talk about a heck of a lot? What does Klopp talk about like a lot, heck of a lot? Possession of the football, press and counter pressing. Lavia does that extremely well, and he's a better passer of a ball than Casado. So I can see why Liverpool gone for Lavia. I've always said if Lavia played for Brighton and Casado played for Southampton, no one would be talking about Casado. They'd all be talking about Lavia. He'd be playing in a better team, and he'd be showing what he can do, similar to Casado.
Oh, I think that the ceiling on that guy, the limits on that guy is endless. You get him now and notice what they're doing. Zobos like 22, McAllister
Yeah.
24, Trent 20, 24, 25. They've gotten this kid 19. Nunes 20. What Nunes is 24. Jota 25. They're basically trying to set up our team for at least the next 5 to 6 years.
Yeah.
That's good. I want to see right now in closing, at least for August 1st, I want to see at least a center back. See, I think one of the things we can do, I'm assuming we don't get Trinidad or we don't get anybody else to be for the moment an augmentation at the DM position, assuming we don't do anything else. I still think we can go in during the winter window, right? There's the winter window coming, but we definitely need augmentation at the what you call it at the defensive side of the ball. The center back side of the ball, because we are one injury away to basically having to recall, having to use Joe Gomez as a center back. Now Phillips is not in the squad anymore because I think he's going. Rhys Williams is not in the squad; he's on loan right now, and so we need a center back cover up. I don't know whether they're intending to use this Jarrell Kwanzaa kid who's coming up, and I'm not averse to it, but you have to basically roll him in slowly, right? He has to go and play the cup games and play the IFK Pet Samus in freaking Finland or Coping somewhere there. He has to go and play Moldova, somewhere there, and then get used to whatever center back pairing, get used to the system, and then we can merge him in. But yes, so far so good. I think I am hopefully hoping that we get Ignacio, but I am getting the sense that he doesn't want to come to Liverpool. That he's also one of those that wants to go to Manchester United. So there's Precious. I think Precious is adequate. There are others we can get. We're Liverpool. If we need to get others, let's do that. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I agree. So David Ornstein's just put Liverpool set to return with a bid. They want to get this package done. It's a high chance the deal will get done, although Chelsea retain a firm interest. So Chelsea have an interest in Lavia. but Liverpool are so far ahead of this deal at the moment. I just don't see.
I have a lot of choice words for Chelsea right now, but it's afternoon broadcast, so I won't use them. Why are they always trying to get in the middle of everything? They've single-handedly ruined the transfer market for everybody, not just for EPL teams, for every single European team. What is wrong with them?
I don't know. I won't worry about what Sky Sports are saying either, guys, because Sky Sports, they just, remember Sky Sports 2 days before we bought Szoboszlai said Liverpool got no money, so they doubt that transfer will happen. So I wouldn't, I wouldn't worry about Sky. Sky Sports are just saying that Liverpool will open their new stand against Bournemouth in their first home game of the season, and it's been reported all day that the stand won't be fully open till October. So I won't worry about Sky Sports.
Sky Sports are decidedly anti-Liverpool. You know that. They have a huge Manchester United bias, and that's what they do. So they don't want us to do well. We are not too worried about them, but that's where we are. I think our links with the Fluminense kid are genuine.
Yeah,
and
I believe they are as well.
We'll see what happens. I think it's about time we got one of those, because everybody's getting them. Manchester City got Julian Alvarez. Look at what happened. These guys, Newcastle got Bruno Guimaraes. Look at what happened. And the list goes on. Look at a quiet achiever that people don't really talk about. Douglas Luiz,
Yeah,
right?
Douglas Luiz, good player, man.
Yeah, at Aston Villa. And there's more. These guys, South America, of course, Caicedo, and these kids that they've been bringing from South America. It's becoming a trend that if you look for a good one, it saves you a lot of money. They come in, they do a very decent job. Sometimes they do an excellent job. So I think it's about time we put faith in one or two of them, because we haven't been averse to getting Brazilian players. So if we needed any advice on Trinidad, we have at least 3 Brazilians playing for Liverpool right now. And the goalkeeping coach is a Brazilian. Tafarel is Brazilian. So we're not short of advice. We will not be short of advice if we actually needed to go for him. The goalkeeper, Alisson, can be, his advice can be sought, and he'll probably tell you this kid is a good player. He has a lot of reviews. Peter Luga is there. You can ask him. So we're not short of advice when it comes to getting at least one decent player from Brazil. And you never know, he might come back and be the star of the show. So
yeah. I think there is a lot of actual big interest in this guy from Liverpool, and it might be one of the things that Liverpool are looking at and going, you know what, we'll get him in, but we'll leave him at his club for the season.
I don't care how we do it. I don't care how you get here if you can, because you will see Porto go get him. Porto will bring him to Lisbon. Within a year and a half, 2 years, they'll be selling him for £80 million. And that's when we'll be rushing to go get him. I think we need to get ahead of the curve on some of these things. I've watched him. Look, I saw yesterday he played. The team lost 2-0, but he was excellent. Fluminense lost 2-0 to, I think, America. I've forgotten the team, but if you have Paramount Plus here, the Brazilian league is on it. He played yesterday. He was standout. He was excellent. So, yeah, for 25 million euro release clause. 25 million euro is what, like 20 million pounds, is it?
Yeah, about 19 million quid.
Yeah, you can't go wrong on that, can you? Couldn't sell him. You couldn't sell him for less, even if he doesn't want to. If he doesn't like the nightclubs on Merseyside and he wants to go the lights of Lisbon or wherever, you can't go wrong on that. So let's go get him.
I agree. I think that's when Liverpool are very interesting. And look, Lavia. Look, let's get. I won't get a picture up for everybody. If Lavia is done, obviously Lavia is not officially done yet and officially signed. We're hoping this is the case. We know Chelsea are interested in Lavia. What I've been reading today is that Lavia's told his agent he just wants Liverpool now. Apparently, Southampton have accepted Liverpool's deal of 45 million. So that looks like that might be happening. So if that is happening, if it does happen, there's the three that we got in this summer. So
That
McAllister,
that
Szoboszlai,
that
Lavia.
makes me drool like a Komodo dragon that has seen a limp deer, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you take them three, yeah. So McAllister's Henderson's upgrade, without a shadow of a doubt. Dominic Szoboszlai is an upgrade on whoever else in that midfield area. You can talk about whoever you want. And Lavia, look, Lavia's not a total upgrade on Fabinho. I will say that because I will say with Fabinho, when we bought him, that's the Fabinho we got to remember. That Fabinho, Premier League, Champions League winning Fabinho was awesome. Last season's Fabinho and a little bit of the season before that, that Fabinho, Lavia can replace. No doubt about that. The whole
That
package of
that
Fabinho,
Fabinho was
great.
like a Fabinho who wasn't getting sleep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, Fabinho was yeah, look, Fabinho just needs the move. I think I've said this for a while. I think Fabinho's mentally drained and he needs to leave. I think he just needs a new challenge and a new thing in his life. And good luck to him. Look, Fabinho is not to go to be. Look, Lavia is not going to be Fabinho straight away. He just ain't right. But if we all act very reactionary and go what Fabinho did last season, Lavia's going to be far better because he can move for one. He can run. He's more mobile. He's more athletic. He can pass the ball as equal to Fabinho. He just ain't got that Fabinho experience that Fab's got. So if you take Fab from last season and you put Lavia there now, Lavia's an upgrade. If you talk about Fabinho as the whole package from when we bought him to when he's left, Lavia's not an upgrade yet. But Lavia could be an upgrade in 2 to 3 to 4 years' time. When you look at it like that, and you think, thank God we got him when we did.
But
That's
let
how
me tell you the immediate improvement. It's in the inverted system.
Mm.
That's the immediate markup you get with Lavia, because if Trent slots into that midfield to do his thing, he is the one person who can come back and cover. Because what we were actually lacking with those teams that were able to expose the invert system was cover for Trent when he went forward. I have absolutely no doubt, and I'm sure you don't either, that we're going to go back and invert Trent. I mean, that's what's going to happen, right? So if you invert Trent and you have Lavia, he can drop back and close those spaces.
Yeah.
Very important. Very, very important. So no more Dewsbury Halls or Kamaldeen Suleimanes or whoever it is. No more 100-meter runners, whether Zanel Hughes or Linford Christie, fucking running through our midfield as if there was nobody there, right? So, yeah, that's the immediate improvement you get. You can never buy the experience of Fabinho. You can't buy his experience.
No.
It's not possible.
Fab's experiences, yeah.
So I'm just, you know what? Unfortunately for me, I've become very agnostic with this current ownership of Liverpool. So I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, fingers crossed. Let's get Lavia over the line, then I can get some sleep. I can just. Yeah, I know what you guys are saying about Chelsea, but I still want to get it over the line. Because if we get it over the line, I'm doing hoops and hollers and what have you.
I think something would have to go really wrong on Liverpool's half now for Chelsea to win.
Things do go boom in the night on Merseyside. You know that, right?
Yeah,
Remember Nabil Fekir?
Yeah, I think Liverpool are putting too much effort now. So, I think it'll probably be done by. Well, where are we? It's Wednesday, isn't it? So I think it'll be done by Friday. No
He
doubt
needs to
about it.
board that plane to Singapore, and the plane is
I
leaving
think that's why
tomorrow.
they're trying. That's why they're speeding this transfer
Yeah,
up
he
because
needs to board the
Liverpool
plane.
literally. went in with a second bid within hours. You know, they didn't hang around. It was within hours they went in with a second bid. So, yeah, I think Liverpool are trying to speed this up so they can go on the Singapore trip. Yeah, okay, Mac, how you doing, man?
How you doing, guys? I'm good. I'm
man.
good.
Good.
I'm good, K-boy. How you doing, bro?
I think what's interesting to know about this is just a Liverpool thing, isn't it? It's like Henderson's gone. He's now training with his new club.
Mm.
Those wages are now moved. Oh, we just signed a new player. You know, that's how we do things. We don't seem to do things ad hoc. Like, we don't seem to do things that are off the cuff. Like, we don't just like buy a load of players when we've already got a load of players. We have to make sure there's space and move things around. That seems to just be a Liverpool thing, doesn't it? So what's next then? Defenders?
Well,
we
Is
need,
Nat
we
Phillips
need a
going?
centre back. We
but
need a
defenders
centre
to
back
come
for
in.
sure.
Someone has to go.
So Nat Phillips was missing out the training. He wasn't in the last team.
I'm all right with that, though, because I
That's
don't
an
want.
interesting one. So
I don't want.
is that a development that's going to happen next?
I'm
I
hoping.
feel that could be.
I'm hoping because I don't like storing players. I don't like being a team that just has 35 players just to take their own 35 players. We got 4 centre backs, 5 if you count Nat Phillips. We ain't buying another one till someone leaves because there's no room. So, yeah, Nat Phillips should leave. Matip should leave for me. Matip's done. He should be gone. He should be out the door. Liverpool need to get a centre back. If Liverpool get his Lavia deal done by the weekend, he goes to Singapore with the rest of the boys and has his medical over there, maybe. Beautiful. Done. Fantastic. Right, I'm happy. But we need a defender. We saw the other day in the second half in that game when Konate and Van Dijk went off how bad the other defenders are. So Liverpool need a centre back desperately. Matip is just not it no more. Gomez will stay because of the homegrown factor, but Joel Matip, guys, he don't know how to defend anymore. He's lost his defensive ability. He goes lazy with tackles. You know, he's very lazy now. You know, he just puts out like a leg or something like that. He's not committed like he used to be as a player. Now, that might just be tiredness. I'm not sure. Or he just not putting the effort in that he should be. But, yeah.
He needs a retirement league, bro.
Yeah,
he needs a retirement league.
Yeah, Matip needs
to
go. Look, I'd get rid of Gomez. I'd get rid of Gomez first because Gomez will probably have the more market value. I'd let Gomez go first because I don't think he should be here either. But I understand why Gomez might stay because of the homegrown factor. So okay, but
also because he can play as a fullback, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he's got 2. Yeah, so he's got 2 positions.
Have I been called Mr. Negative? I haven't said anything negative.
I'm
really happy with Lavia.
He might be talking about me. I'm not sure. I'm happy with the midfield transfer, so I can't be more positive about it. I'm well excited.
I'm made up with Lavia. Lavia is an absolute monster. Like, he's going to be so special in the next couple of years.
He's them possession 1 stats for under 20 players.
Oh,
so you can see why Klopp liked him because he wins the ball back higher up the pitch, and he can pass, and he's press resilient. You know, he's very press resilient. You know, and you look at them players there. Look at them players there for under 20s. You know, look at Camavinga all the way down there on 68.
Look at Pedri.
You know, it just shows how good Lavia is. And look, we've watched Lavia firsthand, guys. We watch the Premier League week in, week out. So this is not us just guessing at a player from another league that we think might be good. We watch Lavia week in, week out in the Premier League. We know he's a talent. And a super talent at that, and got a great potential and a great future with him. But we need a defender, guys, don't we? We just do. We need centre backs. we just need centre backs, man. We just need centre backs.
Can I just touch on something that they're like? So I watched I listened to a podcast a couple of days ago, and he's calling me Mr. Negative. So I listened to the podcast a couple of days ago, and they talked about George Smacked, and what I find really interesting is there's a lot of people that think that George Smack isn't the guy to do with any of these signings and any of these deals. And there's a really interesting thing that they've mentioned, which I haven't really thought of, and I'm just going to mention it to everyone here and the chat, that if you're going to do some nasty things to a lot of players that are basically like family, yeah, and basically tell them, look, you're not good enough, you need to go, yeah, what would be the best way of doing it? The best way of doing it is to get a completely new guy in that nobody knows on a part-time contract, where he just goes in and he just literally gets rid of all the deadwood, gets rid of all the players that aren't good enough anymore, but their feelings aren't hurt by the manager or the club because this guy is a complete outsider. And that's what they talked about. They've talked about the fact that Klopp's got this guy in because he doesn't want to be face-to-face with these players and say to them, look, I'm really sorry, but you're not good enough anymore, and we're gonna sell you, like, if any offers come along.
Yeah.
And it feels like that is probably what George is doing. And all of the signings are probably Julian Ward's. Like, he's the one who's probably put all the groundwork in. Because Liverpool do a lot of stuff in the background for a long time, like tapping people up, for example, for a long time. And it feels like this could be the case. And that's why you haven't seen George anywhere, really, apart from the training pitch, is because he's literally there ready to...
I don't know. It sounds a bit conspiracy-minded to me.
No, but...
I think
it makes sense. He's only here for 3 months.
Jamie, there's nothing wrong with a good cop. There's nothing wrong with a good cop, bad cop approach, right?
No, it's not. George is here for 12 months, but but George said he can. Liverpool gave him a 12-month contract, and George said he can take time off after 3 months, but he's got a 12-month contract. That's what it is.
So you just said good cop, bad cop. I'm saying good Klopp, bad Klopp.
Yeah, you can, or you can call it good Klopp, bad George. However you want to call it, it doesn't matter. You have to have those kinds of people in an organization, right? The people who and like, it's one of the reasons why some of us who are always called negative, in the family, it's like I don't care being called negative, but those of us who were negative last season, we found out what happened last season. So it's okay to have a good cop, and the people who are like, when everything good happens is Klopp, when everything bad happens is Lindes. Schmadtke is the bad guy, Klopp is the good guy. Oh, meanwhile, we all know that behind this, if you delve deep, you know that nothing happens without Klopp's approval or say so, or that's good. If it works for us, then it works for us. Notice something, and I said something the other day on your chat, Jamie. Every player that we wanted gone last season is gone. Every player.
Mm-hmm.
Just name one player who's still left, that if we constructed a net of the players we wanted gone, one person who is left. It didn't happen without Klopp's approval. He knows exactly what he's doing. The only thing is he's built the huggy, kissy relationships with the players, and he finds it difficult to look them straight in the eye and tell them this is where we are. So he's gotten somebody from his own stables. They have the same agent who, he's just getting rid of them. Basically, he's the new carpet cleaner in the house, getting rid of all the allergens. That's cool too.
Yeah,
I think it's a great way of doing it as well, because there's no hatred among the players to him, really, and also it's not hurting the players because they must feel like a little bit like family when you've been around for that long, and the way he builds his teams, yeah, I quite like it. Something I will touch on as well, though, is do you think we're done with midfield now, or do you think there's still going to be another player if Fabinho goes?
I'm trying to think. So look, we've got, if Lavia comes in, that's Lavia, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Thiago, Trent will play inverted. Then you got Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, who Klopp plays there anyway, no matter if he shouldn't. So that's what, 7?
And Bacetic.
And Stefan Bacetic to come back as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's a very young midfield. You could look for someone else. Like everyone keeps saying, we need experienced DMs, and like, I'm trying to work out who. You've got to play to them what the manager wants. I keep saying this. This is why I say this. And when people go at me all the time and go, "Why are you always having to go at Jurgen? Why are you always having to go at Jurgen?" Because what I do, I throw back what Jurgen tells us, the fans, and I throw it back on you. So Jurgen's told us this pre-season that he wants to be the best possession team he can be, the best pressing and the best counter-pressing team that he can be. And counter-pressing is always the way going forward as long as he's manager. All right? So no matter what formation we set up with and what system we play, counter-pressing, pressing and possession-based football is the key to our success under Jurgen Klopp. So if Klopp wants it that way, then Liverpool have got to buy players that suit doing them roles that Jurgen Klopp wants. So I can see why he's gone for Lavia, as we said with Lavia, that, you know, in the stats, that he's got he wins possession basically in that midfield area. He wins possession quite a lot in that midfield area, and then he distributes that possession really well with good passing, and he can dribble. We've seen him take players on. He's very athletic. He's very press resistant. So I can see why Klopp's bought him. McAllister, we've seen him at Brighton. We saw him at the World Cup. Quality player who does what Klopp wants. Szoboszlai does what Klopp wants. So it all, when we say experience, and people, I always say go experience, who we go getting, and everyone says Caicedo, and I'm like, he's 21, and he's played 8 more Premier League or 10 more Premier League games than Lavia, who's 19. So by the time Lavia is 21, Lavia could have as much experience as Caicedo when Caicedo is 21 now.
That's what I said. I think he's ahead.
If you think about that, he played a whole season for Southampton in the Premier League at 19 as their defensive midfielder.
Do you think Southampton would have gone down if he hadn't got injured for 3 months?
Yeah, that's a good point as well.
He pulled his hammy, didn't he? Because I remember watching Southampton at the start of the season when they had him, and he stuck out like a sore thumb.
Certainly did.
It was literally Lavia watch.
Yeah, it was. Big up the gal in the house. I hope you're good, Gal. Big up to you, my man. Yeah, it's Lavia's a decent player, man. He's a decent player. He really is. Do we need another midfielder? Experienced one. So if you're going for an experienced midfielder, K-Mac, as I said, you need a player that suits what Klopp wants to do. He said it. Possession, counter, press and pressing. So experienced midfielder that can do that is like a Rodri. So that's never going to happen in a million years. You know what I mean? These sort of defensive midfielders are already at their clubs or are, let's face it, a shitload of money. You know what I mean? So who do you reckon, man? Who do you reckon?
I wouldn't be surprised if Tyler Adams starts popping up in the press. I would not be surprised.
Yeah, you've been chatting about Tyler Adams for a while.
I would not be surprised if his name creeps up. Decore, I think Decore's incredible, by the way. I think he'd be brilliant, and he'd just go straight in. But it all depends what happens with Thiago as well. We still got Thiago there. like in a 3, his stats are just as good as Fabinho's. They really are. He's just made a quavers. That's all.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
and the whole Gapco thing is really just I don't know. It's made things a little bit more complicated because now we've got a player that we could probably play in midfield as well now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he could do an 8 job if you really wanted him to. So that's kind of threw another midfielder in who isn't a midfielder, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's an interesting situation.
A lot of shouts for Amrabat in the chat as well. Now
Amrabat's going to Man U now.
Amrabat, I think, is going to Man United, and I
think he's brilliant, by the way.
Amrabat is FSG money, yeah, right? He's FSG money, but I look at him and think maybe there's a reason we haven't gone for him. Maybe Klopp just don't fancy him, guys. We can't always blame the owners for everything. You know, if Klopp's given names, yeah, and he's like, yeah, nah, yeah, maybe, yeah, like, and then the transfer committee work with it, and they look at the data, they look what better suits the system, what better suits Jurgen Klopp, and that sort of stuff. So we can't always just go, oh, the owners don't want to buy him.
He's very rarely wrong either, you know, by the way.
Exactly.
Very rarely.
And Lavia's going to cost, I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if Lavia costs more than Amrabat, yeah? Right? So Liverpool go buy a player in Amrabat. Yes, he's like 8 years younger, right? And he's got a brighter future, there's no doubt about it. But if Liverpool really wanted Amrabat, if he's like 25, 30 million, yeah? Liverpool would have gone and bought him. Liverpool have not ever, and I've seen people today, I think it's mostly Man United fans saying, dose of Liverpool's medicine, like Amrabat turned Liverpool down. Liverpool were never in for Amrabat. Like, barely in for him, ever.
The thing about Lavia as well is
mad.
I look at Lavia and I could see that type of player at Real Madrid. Like I can see him being that special. And to get him, I know he's cost a lot of money, like 42 million with like 8 million add-ons, I think. But I think sometimes you just have to do that because we lost Tchouameni, we lost Jude Bellingham. You know, there's been players that we've missed out on because we just haven't put that extra money in. This one we have, and you know, good on him. That's brilliant work.
This is a play Liverpool want. Liverpool went in with 30. So Paul Joyce has said that apparently Liverpool went in with £37 million bid for Lavia, and then £34 million bid for Lavia, and then £5 million in add-ons. I think it said there, right? And Southampton turned it down, but Liverpool went back hours later for a bigger bid. So they obviously really want Lavia, and they see him as that player. Big up here to the chat. Do you think Lavia is worth 50 million? And how many matches will he play if he comes in when Henderson and Fab leave? Look, a player's worth is what they do for you under the term of their contract. So if he's here 4 years and he's brilliant for 4 years, then he's worth every penny. Like, I've seen a lot of very, very good footballers go to clubs that, you know, have got like this big name, big potential. Look at Jadon Sancho, a lot of money, 86 million. Would you say he's worth it? Now, over time, he might be. You know, Alex went for 95. Well, not Alex. What's his name? Went for 95 million to Anthony. Anthony went for 95 million to Man United. Yeah. Now, his first season probably not worth it. He could be really good in 3 to 4 years' time and look worth it. So it's very hard to say if a player's worth their value till their end of their contract's been.
West Ham just offered 40 million for Gallagher, and Chelsea said no. Like,
there you go.
Lavia's better than Gallagher.
Lavia or Conor Gallagher right now?
Lavia's better than Gallagher. You know, you really want to just kind of break it up like that. But the thing about Lavia as well, you're getting a player for like the next 10 years. Like literally.
Exactly, that's the point of
like
buying
if you're getting him to do Fabinho's job and he's as good as Fabinho, then we've got him for 10 years because Fabinho's leaving when he's 30.
Yeah.
Like,
I
think it's incredible business.
20 million. Yeah,
I think it's incredible business. Next season, you know, Man City we're gonna drop that 40 million on him to take him back.
Oh
yeah,
definitely.
I think it's great business.
Yeah, see,
and the fact that we haven't paid 50, I think is great business as well. By the way, because we saved ourselves 8 million. We might be able to get 10 for Nat Phillips. Maybe we sell the goalkeeper for like 20.
Yeah,
like that's enough money to put on a defender as well. And this guy was always down to be signed. Like this is the thing about it. This was brought up by the media. Like we were always going to get this player or a player like this, even if Fabinho wasn't leaving, we were going to get someone in to take up the slack. And he's probably been told as well, Fabinho, just like Henderson was, like your minutes are going to be reduced.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Big up
Much
40-year-old Virgil. Hope you're doing well. No, like this is all ifs and maybes, obviously, all ifs and maybes. But what we're hearing right now is that Liverpool gone in again with a second bid that looks like it's about to be accepted, which is a transfer up to 45 million for Lavia. So with add-ons included. So I think it's 42.5 million and 2.5 million add-ons. So that's what we're hearing at the moment. 40-year-old Virgil. It's all ifs and maybes as we're chatting. We're not
It's
chatting
from
definite,
Ornstein. It's
but it
you know,
looks
even
like
David Lynch has talked about it now as well. I think
it's
it's on
going.
Sky Sports as well. So
Yeah,
it's
it's going to
pretty
happen.
much-
That's right. It's going.
It seems a little bit like the Dominic Szoboszlai thing, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It just kind of just 2 days bang. That's what it seems like.
yeah.
A couple of conversations, couple of bids, and then it's done. And that's what it
Liverpool-
looks like again.
Yeah, Liverpool don't usually go in straight away for another bid for a player. Hours later, one gets turned down if they weren't confident of getting the deal done. 12th man, how you doing, my man? Big up 12th man, how you doing?
Doing well. Just
Big up.
somewhat early morning for myself, but getting it in. How are you all on the panel?
Yeah, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. We're just we're all pretty happy about this Lavia news. How are you feeling about it?
You know what? I saw the Lavia news. I was very intrigued. I still think that Southampton's playing with limited cards to play with, basically, in my opinion, considering, you know, how hampered they are with the Man City, how Man City structured the deal originally with Lavia. And, you know, I just think they're trying to squeeze every last penny out before they know Lavia wants to leave. You know, like it's a difficult place to negotiate with when you know you want to leave. I'm actually more intrigued with some news that I heard about Colwell doing the same with Chelsea, apparently telling Chelsea that he's interested in making a move away from the club. I'd be more interested to see what we do with that particular situation than I am with Lavia, because I think Lavia is pretty much, it'll eventually happen. You know, I think it's going to eventually get across the line. But if we do get Colwell, then yeah, if we get Levi in, that's a different story. That's bringing in a player that I think will shore up something that we do definitely need to do, which is shore up this center back position as well.
Yeah, Colwell. Yeah, Colwell. I think he's the defender, guys, that I think Liverpool want. You know, when they were waiting for Virgil, I know, like they wouldn't get anyone else. I think that's the one Liverpool want. Obviously, it's up to Chelsea what they do, but look, Chelsea have
God, if
got
we get Colwell,
some defensive issues themselves at the moment, ain't they? And they need Colwell right now.
They need midfielders too,
dream
though.
window if we get Colwell. Dream window for me. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's like playing Football Manager. Seriously, like cheat mode. Dominic
But
Szoboszlai,
Chelsea-
Alexis McAllister, Romeo Lavia, and Levi Colwell. Oh my God! Like that's not what Liverpool do.
no,
Amazing.
he is the defender. He is the defender.
Get out and come back in. I can't hear you.
You'd be surprised, though. I mean, look, again, I think that, you know, I saw that someone was writing like there's no chance that Colwell will happen, and I know Chelsea's very high on him, you know, but let's not get, but there's a lot of different angles that you have to play in this negotiation, which is, hey, if the player wants to leave, you know, if the player's not happy, do you want that in your locker room? Do you want to continue to, like, you know, do you want the crazy mess that like PSG, for instance, is going to have if they try to keep Mbappe at PSG, with a player that doesn't want to be there, or a player that, you know, is just feuding with management? You don't want that. So, I mean, look, if Colwell wants out, then inevitably they'll figure out some type of deal, and they'll figure out the best way to get him out and maximize, obviously, the profit return for them, and they'll make it happen. But I mean, realistically, I think this Lavia deal is going to go over the line. I think we're still looking at Kone too, to be honest with you, because look, that injury definitely was something of Liverpool doesn't hesitate to still go in on players that are injured. Let's just get it real. So that wasn't obviously going to be a distraction from them, but it's just pretty interesting to see like how a lot of this summer is still unfolding, and there's still over a full month of negotiations that can be handled, through this. So
Yeah, I think he's the defender Klopp wants. Now, look, Liverpool's issue is that obviously if he goes on the transfer market tomorrow, Chelsea are going to want ridiculous money. So that's going to be, very, very difficult. It'd be a lot of money. Colwell will have to do something where we have to wait for maybe he wants to leave, puts up a request or something like that. I just don't think it's going. If Colwell is, what other defenders out in the market do you think Liverpool could legitimately be looking at, K-Man?
So Inacio we're looking at. That's definitely something that we are looking at. And he's obviously got a release clause. But I don't know whether that release clause is legitimate. I don't know. Van de Ven is one we've been looking at, and Tottenham are now not looking at him, so that might mean something. I don't know. And Hinapache is another player that we're looking at as well, who's the Ecuadorian international who can play centre back and left centre back, but he can also play right back as well, by the way, which is a bit crazy because he's right-footed but plays on the left. I think. Don't quote me on that, but the thing about the Colwell thing as well is Klopp's annoyed Chelsea because he's been speaking to him on the phone.
Yeah.
So Klopp's already done the whole tapping up thing, which he's amazing at, and he turns players' heads. Like, by the looks of it, he probably had a chat with Lavia yesterday, and now Lavia wants to leave the next day. So I don't know, but he seems to be amazing at this sweet talking players on the phone. And if he's done it to Colwell, then if he the biggest issue is what do you do with Robinson? Like, what do you do with him? Like, because if you're going to sign a Colwell or you're going to sign a player to play in that centre back position, there's going to be some conversations that are going to have to be had with Robertson, and I don't know how that's going to go because the conversations have been had with Henderson and Fabinho, and look where they are.
I don't know if necessarily you have to.
I don't know.
The disagreement I would have with that statement is this. I think that despite the fact that, one, I do have some reservations with Robertson playing left center back, quote unquote, I still though enjoy the idea that this team now is starting to progress forward with so many different options and so many different ways to present a formation onto a pitch that is encouraging. Look, there's a lot of players that can play interchangeable positions. That creates a lot of flexibility in itself. It creates a lot of fluidity that I've spoken about numerous times on the pitch. And not only does it create those types of things, it also allows for us, like you said, with Robbo, or maybe with my perception of Gomez needing to play specifically right back rather than play center back in going forward. Like, those types of positions or those types of placements with players allow for us to say, okay, we can go with a 4-2-3-1, or we can go with a three-man back, or we can go however we want to go about trying to go against these teams that we're going to be facing. That Ancelotti comment never emerges once again. It never that kind of sentiment never comes back to fold against us.
No, agree. It's exciting.
Yeah,
It's exciting.
Jamie, if I just may, see, the problem with the Robertson thing is Robertson has not been able to adapt to being a left centre back. I don't think it's a question of him not being able to play. He's not been able to adapt to it when we are out of possession. So the thing then becomes, when we are caught in possession, most of the time when we concede goals, when we are caught in possession, he's almost always far up the pitch. That's something that needs to be addressed. And I think that the best way of addressing it is to get a left-sided centre back. And see whether he's able to adapt to it, because the problem is not whether he's unable, it's just because he hasn't. I can recount so many goals we've conceded, and it's been because he's been up the pitch, and you simply can't have just two people defending, especially in a high line when you are our players are far up the pitch. So that's what needs to be addressed. Apart from that, yeah, we are moving in the right direction, but we still need those cover that a central defender, at least one, because you can't promote that Kwanzaa kid, and then when he makes mistakes, we're all gonna get upset. We also know that we are a few injuries away from a happy meal, right? We are a few fries short of a happy meal when it comes to that direction. So we simply need to understand and accept that that's where we are, and then we adapt and work towards it.
No, I agree, man. I agree. I've got some breaking news. I've got video footage of Jordan Henderson's first training session. Do you want to see it? Hang on, let me put it up here. There we go.
I knew this was coming.
Jordan Henderson in his first training session for his new club.
Have it. Oh yes.
Yeah, so that's Hendo's. That's Hendo's new training footage there. Big up Hendo, much love. Big up Don Coolslat, and big up the super chat, Jamie. We all know what the club needs, and I think the club wait a bit too long to but we should have some movement soon. Yeah, look, that's the way we roll. It annoys us all. We agree. We should be. We should be more proactive in our transfers. I do agree. We react too soon. Like we're reacting now because of the midfield situation last summer. That shouldn't have been an issue. It should have been dealt with a couple of years back. We should be looking for the future more. I'm hoping that the clubs start doing that now. I really hope that the clubs start looking to the future more now, buying young players. But what I'm seeing a trend now, like we're buying players of really around 24, 25 and under. And I feel like that's what they're going to try and do to build the next Liverpool team that will go for the next few years, K-Mac. Like when Klopp first came to Liverpool, he got rid of all the players that are older or not what he wanted in the team. He slowly got rid of them. It took a couple of years, then got the players in that he wanted, moulded them into his team, and then for that 4 or 5 year period, Liverpool looked fantastic with that group of players. Do you think that's what they're trying to do again? Mould the new Klopp 2.0 that everyone talks about.
Absolutely. I think what's happened at the end of the season is they've all sat down and gone, right, what do I really need to change here? Like, I've got a couple of options. One of them is I rip out my coaching staff and get some new staff in, so there's new voices and there's fresh ideas. Or do I get rid of all the old guard who are basically running the show still in the changing room? They're getting upset with each other because they can't do as well as they used to, and they've still got the power, as in people are still looking up to them. And you must have like players in the changing room sat there who are obviously on the bench and are getting paid a lot less, looking at them going, God, you're awful. Like, I can do better than you. Like, why aren't I getting played? Why are you still getting played? And I think that's been a bit of a change. Like, and it's made last season the way it was because there was a lot of bickering, there was a lot of arguing, there was a lot of stuff in the media about stuff that was happening behind the scenes. And it makes sense just getting rid of them all. Like, and you still got a few leaders, yeah, you still got a few old guard, but those old guard, they were good. They were good still. The likes of Alisson, the likes of Virgil van Dijk, the likes of Salah, and the rest, they've all gone. And it's a lot of players, but sometimes that's what you need to kick things on. And I really hope that's what happens.
Yeah, I think that's the way we're looking. That's why we're looking at Colwill as well, like 19, 20-year-old. That is, we're looking at these players now. They're looking at I think Liverpool are looking at a market where they're looking at it's a potentials market. I think that's what Liverpool are looking at. They're looking at a potentials market that has got quality. They're not like, oh, they're dead players, but potentially they could be good. They're looking at high potential. You know, we could sit here in 3 years' time and not have got Lavia. Well, we haven't really got him yet, but it looks like that deal's going to happen, right? And 3 years' time, Lavia goes somewhere else. We're going to be sitting there thinking, we could have had him. He was this close, you know, and he's that good. And, you know, a lot of people, even City fans, talk about he's a talent. You know, he's a talented player. So I'm glad we got him. McAllister, 24, 25, you know, seeing what McAllister can do. We watched the Premier League. We watched what he does for Brighton on a weekly. I watched the World Cup.
The guy's world class. The guy's just world class.
And McAllister, man. And then you got Szoboszlai. Like, if you don't know what Szoboszlai does, just go and watch them. Like, the bloke's a diamond in the rough, man. And he's, you know, he might find it. I think Szoboszlai might find it the hardest to adapt at the free straight away, because Lavia's had a year here playing for Southampton, knows what the league's about. Probably sit into this Liverpool system quite quickly. McAllister, we've already seen it, fits in like he's been here 2 years already. I think Szoboszlai might take it a little bit longer, 12th man. Do you reckon? You reckon that it might just take a little while, and you might see maybe formations where we're playing Curtis Jones on the left, McAllister on the right for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think I was going to reference that 2 points to what's been spoken about. One is that I agree. It's amazing how a lot of people, I don't say a lot of people, but some people have all of a sudden just forgotten the fact that of Curtis Jones' form and his continued form as well. In the, you know, I understand that people will say, oh, well, it's only the U21s or, you know, or something like that. But still, in his continued form and his continued bout of confidence that's continued to grow. Elliott's as well, another player that, you know, has continued to pick up confidence and his form has continued to improve. And those are two major players, two major youth players, I would say. I know they don't often be seen as youth players, but they are still, 21 years old or something like that, you know? Yeah. So, like, that's still in that range where you're in my book, you're considered a youth player. And these players are going to play influential portions of they're going to play influential parts of our system, primarily because they know the system. They already understand what Klopp wants from this lineup or from the system in general. It's going to take time for McAllister. It's going to take time for Dom to understand those contributes. They're talented enough. They're definitely resilient enough to be able to definitely hit the ground running, like we saw with maybe like a Diaz or something like that. But I think that you're absolutely right about the fact that you're going to see a lot more inclusion with Curtis. Don't count Curtis Jones out. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. Don't count Elliott out either. And the other point that I want to make also is you made a reference about us getting younger, and I agree that we are making a concerted effort to get younger. But I would ask, realistically, the chat can enlighten us all too. What players out there are significantly, like, hands down locks in defensive measures, at least, or defensive minded players, at least, you know, in the center back positions that we're talking about, or maybe even the DM position that we're talking about. What players out there are like, oh, that's a guaranteed world-class player? And then once you name that player, tell me how much he's making. Tell me how much his transfer fee is, if you want to do that part, because I know that's how people often think. But then also tell me what wage that player is currently on. And then it'll bring you back to the realization of why possibly we are going for more so these youthful players that, you know, we could possibly build from potential, as opposed to trying to pay some astronomical wage fee. So that's just something I just wanted to place out.
I agree, man. I agree. We got some, like, Harvey Elliott. I just wanted to touch on Harvey Elliott. I'm a big fan of Harvey Elliott. I've always have been. If you watch the channel or if you're new to the channel, big up. But I've always been a fan of Harvey Elliott because I see there's something there in the kid. I really do. Him being a fan of the club as well just makes me love him even more. So I know there's a bit more passion there from him. Curtis Jones has always been a debate. How good is Curtis really? I think towards the end of last season, we saw that Curtis is actually a pretty good footballer. And you give him the time and you put him in the right position. Curtis can do things, yeah? You play him in a 4-3-3 and it's a flat 4-3-3 and Trent's not inverted. Curtis will struggle a little bit more. You play this box formation where Curtis is a bit more advanced in the midfield. He can go and do what he wants to do. He looks a decent player. One thing I like about Curtis, though, and I think what Klopp likes about Curtis, is Curtis's transitioning play. He's very good at winning the ball back quickly. You know, Klopp loves that in his midfielders. You know, that's why he was getting a lot of not like he's the next Genie or anything like that, but people sort of comparing the two last season because he was doing a similar role to Genie. He's winning it back in high areas. He can keep the ball pretty well. You know, he doesn't always lose the ball. He can win. He's got good feet. He can go around the player. He's got a nice pass to him. You know, he's got an eye for goal if he's in front of goal enough. You know, he's a decent footballer, and we saw that. And for me, Curtis Jones is now ahead of Harvey Elliott in that pecking order, in my opinion, for that reason. And my worry about Harvey Elliott, if we buy another midfielder in, that just drops Harvey down the pecking order a little bit more. I'm just worried where Klopp sees Harvey Elliott's future. That's the difference. We think he's a midfielder because Klopp's been playing him there. But does Klopp see something else in Harvey Elliott? Does he see him somewhere else on that pitch where he can utilise him? Because he finally found out how to utilise Curtis Jones. Has he truly found out how to utilise Harvey Elliott yet, K-Mac?
I think the whole Harvey Elliott conversation is an interesting one because we don't see him as a midfielder, but through Klopp's eyes, he sees him as a midfielder, and that's the way it's going to be, isn't it? Like he's not going to change on that. It's an interesting one because now you've got Gakpo that's now performing well as a midfielder, so that puts Harvey Elliott even further down the pecking order, if I'm honest. I don't know, really. I mean, I suppose the next couple of games are going to really show us if Elliott's even in the picture. But he's still coming on as a sub. But it's an interesting one because now you've got Dominic Szoboszlai who can also play where Salah plays. Yeah, so it's was Elliott going to play there, like when Salah doesn't play? But Dominic Szoboszlai can play there now, so it's like it's a really interesting one. Can I just touch on the Szoboszlai thing as well? Because
talk about it.
Because I don't think he's going to play as many games as everybody thinks he will to start off with.
No, I agree.
Because he's moving from a club where they never played as many games as Liverpool play. And he wasn't the regular either, so he didn't play every single game. So we don't want to be throwing like 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 minutes on him in his first season, because I don't think his body could take that, because he's another 4,000, 5,000 minute player that we've signed. McAllister's not. Like McAllister played like I don't even know how many games he played for Argentina in the last season, but he played an unbelievable amount of games for his international team as well. And that's something we need to notice as well, because he's going to be picked every single time for Argentina, McAllister, and he'll play the whole time. But the Szoboszlai thing, I think he'll probably play a lot of the lower European games that we think we're going to play the kids in more. I think Dom will probably play a lot of those. It's a really interesting one, because if you play three midfielders, then Elliott's on the bench all the time for me, unfortunately. What do you think, 12th man?
I was going to say this about Elliott. The one thing that I've looked or hope that Elliott will develop is what you said as well earlier, Jamie, which is Klopp loves and demands that you defensively counter-press, that you defensively understand how to press properly. And if anything, I'm looking for Elliott to pick up that trait as being something that maybe he focuses more on in his game. I think that if he does that, it will not only round out his game, it could carve out a place for him in this team, because realistically, he's not going to oversee Salah at right wing. You know, I know there's been hints and talks about him being a replacement, not replacement, but like as in someone that could play alongside or not alongside, but play in that position, and it's just not happening. Okay, but also we now see him being somewhat forced, I guess some people might even say, into that midfield position. And often when you see him in that midfield position, he can look slightly out of place at times, simply because his traits are a little bit more suited towards that right wing's position. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well then where do you go with what defined trait does Elliott bring to the table that you could say he can, really manipulate his position or on the field? And I say that if anything, I would like to see him do what Curtis Jones did, which is concentrate more on your defensive measures, concentrate more on retrieving the ball back, being able to properly understand spacing and angles and everything else when it comes to complementing the pressure of your teammates, and then being able to turn around and utilize your passing ability. That's something I would love to see. But
yeah, I agree.
That's something that we might not see.
That's a difficult Harvey at the moment. I feel for him for a bit because he came into this football club and Klopp loved him straight away. And look, he played. We got to remember this. As soon as when Harvey was always fit, Klopp played him.
Absolutely.
I think he played in front of Hendo for a little bit as well.
Absolutely.
And so Klopp, there's something there that Klopp really likes about this kid. Yeah, whatever we think as fans, some fans might think he's not, he's not good enough. Some fans will think, yeah, he's all right, and some, whatever we all feel, the boss seems to really rate the kid. Yeah, and he thinks otherwise. So my worry, though, for him going forward is that I've seen what Curtis can actually do now when you give him a spell in the team. Defensively, he's better than Harvey,
right? Which
is massive to Klopp. You just got to listen to how he talks. It's about keeping the ball, being defensively working hard, and all that sort of stuff. And Curtis does all that better. You could argue going forward, Curtis is probably better than Harvey as well in some ways. Curtis has got the ability to take a player on. Curtis can take a player on. I think Curtis has got trickier, quicker feet than Harvey has. And I think goal-wise, I think they got an eye for goal. I think if you get Harvey in the right areas, he has got eye for goal. He will have a shot and have a go. Same with Curtis. But Curtis' defensive work at the moment is putting him ahead of Elliott at the moment. Then you got Szoboszlai there, who's going to be a massive player for Liverpool in the future, there's no doubt. McAllister, same. Lavia, if he joins, he's definitely going to be like a guaranteed starter almost. You got Thiago, we can't forget about.
Right.
And then you've got the Joker in the pack, maybe. Stefan Bajcetic. What do we see with Stefan next season, guys? Because we think about it, last season, I don't know if Stefan was ever on Klopp's mind to have a future at Liverpool Football Club. So he had no choice but to bring him into the first team because of the issues at the club, the injuries and so forth and so on. And then he impressed. And he impressed so much, he actually kept Fabinho out the side. Fabinho got dropped. Klopp and I've never seen Klopp actually talk about a player before like Fabinho in press conferences, saying like Stefan's playing in front of him right now. Right. And then Stefan got his injury. Where do we see Stefan this season, guys? Is he a squad player? Should he actually be front of Lavia as the number one DM for Liverpool now? How do we see it?
I personally think that if you're going to speak on Bajcetic needs to, in my personal opinion, not have what happened to Fabinho, and that is to rush him back after injury. I think one of the reasons why we saw a decline in performance is Fabinho was rushed back because of we need and utilize him so heavily in our squad that he got rushed back into the lineup. He continued to play despite the fact that he probably should not have been playing. Okay, and yet he muscled on, and that could again be the case with Bajcetic. Bajcetic had a pretty bad injury at the end of the season. He's now being rehabbed and processed back into playing fitness. And I don't want to see him get pushed into this role where he's going to be seen as always the first choice, always needed, always having to be put out there and develop on the fly. And that's just not something I want to see. But utilizing a good platoon or some type of good system of platooning him in, or being able to, monitor his minutes, if anything, as well, possibly. That I can see being a real accent to him being able to develop his skills and be that defensive midfielder that we would like to see. Because, I mean, you got to keep in mind, he was a center back, I believe, in the academy.
He was. Yeah.
So, like, as in, he does have a defensive mindset, and he does have that defensive, ability in him, obviously. So I could easily see that being happening. But can I also say one quick thing too?
Yeah, go.
I wanted to say something about the Elliott point. Is this, could it be? And I just want to ask you as well. Could it be that possibly Elliott being on the right side and Jones being on the left side, Jones has had the ability to grow more so into the player that he is, especially since he's being molded into the Ginny role, but still the same, being that Curtis Jones doesn't have the right side is pretty locked down in the sense of having Trent and having Mo and him having to defer somewhat to those players on that side of the pitch. Okay. On the left side, it's not necessarily the case, as in we've had a lot of, we have a whole flux of left wings, but all the same, he's maybe had a little bit more freedom to develop and freedom to grow on the left side as opposed to the right side of our pitch. I was just wondering if you felt possibly that take.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think you're right. I mean, go on, Albert. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. Let me touch on the Elliott thing first.
Cool.
I don't think Elliott is good enough to start for Liverpool.
Not right now.
Apart from that, he's always been played in a position in which he's not the player in that position. Elliott is a 10, or he should play where Salah plays. I think at best that is where he should be. So I'm looking more, and I think it should happen, where Klopp is looking to reduce Salah's minutes at certain times, or changing the formation at certain times to fit what Elliott can do. Because one thing he's not is a midfielder. Defensively, he's found wanting. He does these step-overs and things that ends up putting the team under pressure, like one of the goals we conceded against Brentford. Even in England at under 21, you saw how the coach used him. I think he's a 10. He plays brilliantly if he's behind a striker, or he should be on that side where Salah plays.
Mm-hmm.
So being a deputy or an assistant or whatever you want to call it for a Mo Salah who has missed only 3 games in 6 years begins to be a problem, unless there's some sort of affirmative action to basically etch him into the team. That's where I am on Elliott, and so I leave that to the coaching staff. But of course, I am not thinking that we should send him on loan again, because there's a time when sending players on loan becomes retrogressive. There's diminishing returns because the guy is used to playing with a certain kind of player, with him being in a certain Freemasonry, a certain kind of brotherhood. If you send him to go and play Championship, you are destroying him. Okay, so that's my take on Elliott. On Jones, I think Jones is right there. I think Jones will compete for a starting position. And mind you, I'm sure you will bear me out, Jimmy. I'm one of the people who previously thought that we should sell him. I disagree with myself. He's a very, very good player. I mean, I go so far as saying he's awesome. Because if you see them playing live, he's the one player that Klopp instructs the most. I think he's a very good player. I think he's underrated. But I think he himself has come to the point where he believes in himself, but he believes in himself just enough for him not to be overconfident. So you saw towards the end of last season, you saw him finally bring goals into his craft.
Mm-hmm.
You saw him able to play on the left. You saw him able to play on the right. And then, hey presto, in the England under 21 matches, we saw a new Curtis that can actually play as a defensive midfielder. Whoa.
Yeah.
So he's now contesting for a starting berth. Somebody better look out, because he's about to claim somebody's position. And I am happy that you guys have also seen that Dominic Szoboszlai may not be starting every match like we think he may be.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a little soft on the inside. I think. Rolling your ankle already in the triple sessions. You know, I don't know exactly what happened, but yeah, that's what I see. For me, Curtis has done enough to claim start. He's starting material right there. I don't know what else to say. I've gone 360 degrees on my position about him. At a point in time last season, I thought this dude should be sold. He's not good enough. I was wrong. He's very, very much good enough. And I don't think, you see, my problem with all of us, myself included, is that if the kid is a player from our own camp and he doesn't have an exotic name, we tend not to give him the props, the recognition, and the time the person deserves to develop. We shouldn't do that. That's why I'm against, because I've heard this thing about, with all these guys coming in, we should send Elliot to we should send him on loan. I completely disagree. And the reason why I disagree with all that is that, look, within the next 2 years maximum, Salah may not be a Liverpool player. He may not be. Given what the Saudis are doing.
I mean, it could be very likely, yeah.
Yeah, given what the Saudis are doing, you know, what better than Elliot to take over from him if we've groomed him right? So that's where I am. And plus, the team must be deep, right?
Yeah.
We have 4 cup competitions we intend to win. The team must be deep. We can't play Salah again every match, because the law of averages say that sooner or later we're going to have a problem with him. And players like Salah, who have played for 6 years without hardly missing a game, when they go down, they may go down in a bad way. Let's respect the fact that he is growing. Let's respect the fact that even though he makes a supreme effort to keep himself in good shape, he is a dedicated athlete, very disciplined guy. I mean, I hear he doesn't even eat bread. Who the fuck doesn't eat bread? I mean, come on, man. How can you not eat bread? But
I'll bet a loaf today. I'm one.
Yeah, I can't imagine my life without bread. But that's how dedicated he is. Doesn't eat skin chicken. That he's just really, really, really dead. Notice he looks fitter now than he looked last season. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
Salah's the complete.
Yeah.
Salah's
so, but let's preserve him. Let's preserve him. It's in our own interest that we preserve him. We are going to need him to qualify for Champions League. Next season's league is the 38 matches we are going to play are all going to be cup finals. So that's my 2 cents on that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair comments, man. Fair comments. I need to talk about one player, and that's Cody Gakpo, because I'm looking at Cody Gakpo, and the more I watch this guy play, the more I'm starting to think he's almost undroppable in the first team now. Because he's such the link to everything we do. He's the link man from midfield to the forward area of holding up the ball in that high end of the pitch, what Klopp loves. He loves these players being able to hold up the ball at the higher end of the pitch because that's when you can squeeze up. You know, we're never going to get rid of this high line. It's the way we play. We just have to deal with this. You know, trauma is just being a Liverpool fan. This is going to be the way we play, yeah? You know, so this high line. But it works if you've got players like Cody Gakpo and that can keep the ball, that can work with their back to goal, that can, you know, bring midfielders and defenders into play, you know, and keep the ball around that area of the pitch. Every time I watch him play, this pre-season, last season from January onwards, the more I watch him, I think, yeah, man, this guy has to play now. You know, he's just a link. Now, he's not Bobby 2.0 because there's only one Bobby.
Good to hear. I like that.
There's only one Bobby. The way he played for Liverpool Football
Can't
Club.
duplicate the original.
No, but he can be something similar if we're carrying on in the way that Klopp wants to play. Again, I always say, I say what Klopp says, and Klopp has said pre-season he wants to be the best possession team, the best counter team, and the best press counting team. That's the way he wants to play at his best with Liverpool Football Club.
Right.
And if you go to play that way, Cody Gakpo, man, that plays that way. He played the 8 the other day. He looked fine. I've been saying it for a while. It wouldn't surprise me if Cody somehow becomes a midfielder one day.
I agree.
He can play in that false 9 position. He can play on the left. Mm-hmm. Is he becoming a very vital part of our team now, 12th man?
I absolutely agree. I've always thought that he was a vital part from the very beginning because I saw the abilities that he had in being able to advance the ball, being able to, as you said, play with his back to the ball. Those attributes are difficult attributes to establish as a player and be able to do them well in this league, in the Premier League alone, period. So seeing him have those abilities was reminiscent of, just as you said, of a Bobby. And that's something that I was very, very optimistic and very, optimistic to see primarily. You know, I was very, very intrigued to see. But, you know, I also think that he offers quite a bit of different abilities in the fact that, again, this might be something similar, but I know that, you know, he's a very faithful man, like as in his faith is very important in his life. So he creates a straight concentration on the game and on being positive. And it's very similar to what we had and got from Bobby as well. I mean, Bobby's a very faithful person as well. And that, despite the fact that he might have a different faith than others on the team, he still was a positive individual. And I think that's something that is an important person, as an important attribute to have, because I saw him. I know that they're going to always, you know, spin the inside, the training room type, you know, footage to be positive or things to give you a good look on these players. But you could see that that players are generally involved with him, generally like him as a person, you know, and those things are really positives to me as thinking, yeah, I enjoy seeing Gakpo on the pitch. And I enjoy seeing and knowing he's a part of this club.
Yeah, definitely. And like, you know, I love with our forwards. See, I've got no problem with our forward depth at all. I think our forward depth is fine. I think all our forwards are going to score double figures next season, without a doubt, no matter what game time they get. What I do like is that Darwin Núñez and Mo Salah seem to have a very good chemistry together when they play. Jota and Gakpo seem to have very good chemistry together when they play.
Right.
Then you've got Diaz, who can be the joker of the pack maybe and play with everybody, yeah? It gives us two ways of playing with these attackers, don't it?
Absolutely.
It gives us two different threats. Now, if you're playing Gakpo in the 9-1 game with Diaz, with a Jota and a Mo as our front three, that's a more of a build-up game. That's where you keep possession better in the higher end of the pitch. Lovely link play. You got McAllister and Szoboszlai sitting behind them. Lovely link play away with the pitch, one-touch passes. We probably look better and more eye-catching playing that kind of football with them there. It's a different way of playing. Then you got another way of playing where you got Diaz, Darwin, and Mo, which is just direct. It's direct football, where you play to Mo's and Diaz's strengths. Yeah, Mo and Diaz want to get on the ball into space and find that space and do what they need to do. As we saw with Darwin's 2 goals the other day when we played direct, Salah got the ball, beat a man, ball into Darwin, 2 goals. You know, that's what Darwin... We don't want Darwin to start doing what Gakpo does because it don't work for Darwin. We want Darwin to do what Darwin does. It's just run into space and score goals and play to his standard. So I'm quite happy that we have got 2 ways of playing now, guys. I don't know about you, in a forward
Absolutely.
spin.
It's something I've stressed consistently that, and I said it earlier in this podcast, but I've said it on other podcasts as well. Look, we now have one of the most versatile front lines that you can ask for when it comes, and again, it gets down to interchangeable players in the sense of interchangeable positions for these players while on the pitch physically, or when it comes to the different types of attacks that you're just speaking of, you know, and those are exciting. Having the you know, dribbling and abilities of a Diaz, having the, you know, straight clinical precision of a Hata, you know, having again Gakpo being someone that you can utilize as a 9 or as a 10 or even in the midfield as somewhat, you know, having Nunez, the ambassador, you know, being able to press that back line and be that you know, ideal, you know, stereotypical striker, that number 9 striker position in you. And then you have the mainstay being Salah, you know, on the right. That is a formidable front line. And if anything, you know what, it makes me even say to myself, oh, well, maybe Klopp should go to a 4-2-3-1 or something like that, you know, so that we could have at least 4 of these forwards or 4 of these options in front. Play Gakpo in the 10, play Nunez in the 9, and then have your options of who you want to play on left wing, and obviously have Salah on the right. That could be an option. There's so many different variations of this formation or attack that can be utilized with this front line that they become strictly and truly a deadly foe.
I agree.
You see, one of the problems, well, it's not it's a good problem to have. So let's just put it that way. But one of the things that we have with a player like Gakpo is that he can do anything and everything. I haven't yet seen him being a goalkeeper, but apart from goalkeeper, I think he can do everything. And when he came on board, for the first few matches, Liverpool supporters, including yours truly, were complaining. I actually used to call him the wrong Ghanaian, but he's shown us how cerebral he is. He's shown us that he can adapt to any position. He was bought to replace Bobby, essentially, and somehow or the other, he has been able to do that. So he's not Bobby. He's different, but he's Cody. Let's just put it this way. We bought Cody, so we're looking good in the forward areas for definite, and he's a lethal goal poacher. We all know that. So you can ask Manchester United that, they'll tell you. So it's looking good in the forward areas. Coming on in the midfield, let's do the defense, and then we'll see where we are. I have to jump off now because I just got to my appointment. So I'll just listen. But yeah. Thanks for having me.
No worries, Albert. Big up, man. Big up, Zlatan again. Jamie, the midfield and forward line will always play multiple setups, which will make us unpredictable and no style on the attack. Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to. Obviously, we've got to make sure we find a good blend. You know, find a good blend and see how that goes. But I've just found this, guys. I'm going to share this on the screen with you guys right now, and then we'll talk about it. Right.
I have any words to sum up how I'm feeling right now. I'm in the dressing room for the last time, so as you can imagine, it's very emotional. But I need to somehow try and explain what these last 12 years have meant for me and my family. I can still remember that June night back in 2011 clearly, being dead excited but then becoming even more nervous as the move from Sunderland became a reality. It was hard leaving there, I have to be honest, my hometown, my club, but when Liverpool come knocking, you don't say no. Driving in through those old Melwood gates, meeting Damien, the spinning feeling in my stomach, feeling a little shy meeting Sir Kenny, it all seems like yesterday. When I see the footage back now, I'm just a kid. Who would have ever imagined that night how the next 12 years would go? I can't lie, there has been hard times, really hard times. But when I look back at my career at Liverpool, it will always be the good times that I remember. And those good times, again, where do I start? Being made the captain of Liverpool Football Club was one of the greatest honours of my life. From the day the armband was passed to me, I did everything I could to behave like a Liverpool captain should. But the biggest honours at Liverpool weren't personal ones, they were collective. All of us, all of you, together. Starting in Madrid with number 6, the most perfect night, probably my favourite night actually. You've seen it, I'm sure, but the emotion, it was impossible not to be emotional. But then when we came home, there were no words for that experience. You were everywhere, literally everywhere. In the trees, windows, on roofs, on cars, up lampposts, and even on scaffolding. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for giving us that welcome, not just once. To do it again even after we lost the Champions League final last year says everything about the club and its supporters. The best in the world, there can be no doubt, there is no doubt. And then bringing number 19 home. We knew as players what ending that way it meant to you. We knew how important it was to make Liverpool champions again. And that leads me on to Anfield, the most special place in the world to play football. How could anyone think it isn't? I'm sad I won't have the chance to play at the bigger Anfield, but I know what impact it'll have on the opponents. I guess the thing I want to say most of all to you is just simply thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have been a part of your club. Thank you for your support in good times and bad. Thank you for all the sacrifices and commitments you made and will continue to make to follow us all over the world. Just know that I will always be a Red until the day I die. Thank you for everything. You'll never walk alone. Jordan.
Oh, big up, man. Jordan Henderson there. Jordan Henderson. That was classy, man.
That was classy. Powerful
Classy,
stuff.
man. Yeah, that was yeah. Big up to Jordan, man. Look, no matter, I keep saying it, no matter what anyone thinks of him as a footballer with his attributes and his abilities and all that, you know, the man gave everything. The man gave 100%. You know for a fact for the whole time he was at Liverpool, he gave you everything of his ability, right? Yes, he might not have the abilities of certain midfielders around the world that are far better. We all know this. But, you know, he gave us what, you know, he wasn't a lazy player. He gave us everything he had in his locker. And, you know, I respect the guy. I really do. I really respect Jordan Henderson as a professional, as a footballer. For me, it's the right time for him to move on because we're Liverpool trying to move on as well at the same time. They're going to their next chapter there, and Hendo weren't part of that. So he had to move on. But great captain, great leader. I've got no problem with saying that at all. Was he Liverpool's? Will he be ever regarded as one of Liverpool's greatest ever footballers? No, but he will be regarded as one of Liverpool's greatest ever captains. And you know, you got your Alan Hansons, your Emlyn Hugheses, your Stevie G's, and probably your Jordan Hendersons, and that's an amazing list to be in. To be
right, it is.
So
it is. Yeah, it is absolutely. I would have to say, you know, much respect to our captain leaving our team, but you know, he exemplifies what Liverpool is and will forever be in a lot of our mindsets, and that is, you know, dedication to excellence, you know, commitment to representing the club to the fullest and always to the highest levels, and that's all you can ask for from a captain, pretty much, you know. And albeit, you know, there's been that question of, oh, was he better than Gerrard as a captain, or is Gerrard better than him as a captain? You know, look, I just think that they're just two great captains. You know, there can be just doesn't have to. We don't always have to make this into a number one, number two contest or something. You could just be a great, contributor to Liverpool, and I believe Henderson has been such for us.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, guys, I didn't put the music on it. That had nothing to do. The music had nothing to do with me. That was just part of the video. Yeah, the music was it was like he was dying. I will say. The music maybe was a bit out of there. Yeah, I agree. But guys, what we're going to do, we're just going to leave. Yeah, Phil Thompson, great captain as well. You know, Liverpool had great captains. I think you will put, Souness is your Thompson, your Emlyn Hughes is your Gerrards, your Jordan Henderson. All these players. Jordan Henderson will be remembered in that.
John Barnes.
Right. Yeah, when that frame of Liverpool captains, because he led us to the Premier League trophy, so he'll always be remembered for it, and so he should be. But big up to him. Maybe he has a great future now. He's going to get paid very well. Deserves it. Why not? Get your pension, man. Go and get your pension. That's what I'd say. Go and get it. But guys, we are out of here. Big up to everyone joining today. I do really appreciate, guys. Really do. Thank you for joining me once again. 12th Man, you got anything coming up on your channel?
Yeah, today I'm going to have an episode on speaking a little bit more depth on the front line and the options that we have up in front and what I could possibly see us going forward with for not only Chelsea, but as a mainstay for our front line. And yeah, I appreciate you having me on your platform. Of course, it's always a pleasure to be amongst my fellow Reds. And I appreciate being here and big up to the chat. And thank you for everything.
There you go. No worries, man. No worries. So, guys, make sure you go and subscribe to 12th Man's. What's the whole name of your channel called? 12th Man?
It's Liverpool 12th Man. Just as my little, I don't know if my name's up there or not, but yeah, Liverpool 12th Man.
There you go.
Just put in at Liverpool 12th Man, and you'll see me.
There you go, guys. So make sure you go and subscribe. Guys, thank you very much for joining. I'll be back soon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye, guys. See you later. Peace.